Welcome, everybody. Lovely to see you here again today. And I'm interviewing Frederico Ramos today, who is a hyper-realistic artist. And you can see some of his work behind him. And welcome, Frederico. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me, Victoria.
It's good to see you. We met at an exhibition and I was enthralled with your work and I stared into it for a long time. How would you describe your work and why were you at the exhibition?
So I describe my work as, I think, therapeutic.
Mhm.
So the reason why I was on the exhibition is because I got invited to participate in the first show, and then I done the second show as well, which I got invited as well, which was really good. Um,
How would you describe your work then to everyone?
So I create hyper realistic portraits to capture the viewer's emotions and story. So the intention is I do research, and based on what I faced and based on what the research tells me, I then create an image that reflects that time. So that year in time, which then makes the viewer connect with it in a deeper level. So it's not just a nice image to look at. It's an image that connects you, and makes you stop and think like, I've been through that, or I know someone who's been through that, or that image reminds me of something I went through. Yeah, that's how I kind of describe it.
Yes, and I suppose the fact that it's so detailed and you work in pencil, I can see a colour, there is colour behind you, but the most of the work I saw was in pencil and
Yeah.
very, very detailed, which drew me in and fascinated me more than any other artist at that exhibition. And your paintings are quite large, aren't they? Usually quite large.
Yeah, usually this one is oil paint, but I normally don't use oil paint as much. But I do pencil mainly, and the the bigger size I do is A2, which is 54 by 42. And the smallest, I don't do smallest anymore. I used to do A4s, but I now only do A2s,
Yeah,
which is,
yeah.
I think, it's a good size.
So do you mostly do portraits or do you do other subjects as well?
I mostly do portraits. I done some animals or a tree before, which I have some there to show, but mainly portraits. Yes, that's
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's why I love portraits, I guess.
You love it. Yeah. So how did you start then? What brought you to this path of art?
So I'm original from São Tomé and Príncipe, which is an island in east coast of Africa.
Okay.
When I moved, I I was alone, and most of the time, and I didn't had my dad or my mom with me,
Oh,
and
right. Okay.
so so I was doing some art, here and there, and then I was copying some, anime cartoons and stuff, and then one time I saw my teacher, one of the teachers that used to teach art as well in primaries, and he was like on the corner, he was doing this bird portrait, and I saw from the distance, and I was like impressed with the work. I was like, wow, that is amazing. That's the kind of work I want to do, and then I was like, wow, I need to do something like that. So I went home and I grabbed like a family picture, my great great grandpa, no, grandpa, and yes, I grabbed her picture. And then I start, copying, because I used to cop. So I used to, I didn't have good materials or anything, because my family you know, my origins, they don't really believe in art, you know.
Okay.
So then,
and how old were you around about this time?
So I was about 7.
Oh, so you're very young.
Yeah, very young. Yeah.
Very
So
young.
I started about 6, but about 7, that's when I, you know, start doing portraiture.
How wonderful.
Yeah, it wasn't good as this, but
No.
but it was eye-catching, you know, for the ones that were close by. They were, you know, they could see the person, you know, they could relate it, you know, my grandma even say like, that's my mom, you know, and you know, and people even start wanting me to draw them, even though they really didn't.
It's a bit similar to me. I started portraits, but I was at secondary school. I was about 11, 12, started doing portraits, and people used to pay me a small amount of their pocket money for them.
Even though
I
they
thought
didn't
this
pay
is
me
quite
anything
good.
at that time.
Yeah.
At
So
that time,
you were inspired and encouraged by your
yeah,
teacher.
not really encouraged, because we never spoke about anything like this. You know,
Oh, okay.
I just saw from the distance, and
Oh,
then
I
I just
see.
went back home and I
Yeah.
done it.
Ah, you were
And
secret squirrel.
yeah,
Yeah, so that must have given you a lot of pleasure to have that feedback as well at a
yeah.
very young age. Yeah, yeah.
That was good.
So
But
have you continued with that all through your life, or did you get distracted by work and employment?
so I continue with till when I was about 12, but I then stopped because I lost motivation. You know, no one was, you know, support me. Everyone was telling me to stop doing art. It's not gonna go,
Okay.
you know, you're not gonna go anywhere.
Mm.
Yeah, all this,
Yeah.
everything that you can possibly think negatively, you know, that's
Oh.
what.
Mm.
But I was like, you know, I was I think I was resilient, I would say, you know. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna show you that you're wrong, and I just kept going, you know. I think my motivation, my drive was to show them, like, prove them wrong, you know. That's why I kept doing it. But then I think all that hit me at some point, you know. I didn't want to take it in, but I think at some point you know, it got to me, because, you know, and then my dad moved countries again and left me behind again, you know, and I was like with my grandma and some other people around, but they weren't really taking care of me. They were just, it was more like a kind of abusive relationship that time, you know, and I think, yeah, at that point something got me, and then I stopped doing it for a good time. And then when
Yeah.
I came to England, I was stopped about 12. I came to England when I was 16. That's then I started doing it because, you know, again, I was lonely. I didn't have friends. You know, it's a total different language, and you know, and then I got some bullying and everything. So I was like, so I then started doing it again, and because I was in intensive English classes, so
Okay.
I
Yeah.
used to take my art material there, and then I started doing some portraits in the class and everything, and then I kept doing it, and here I am.
It's a kind of therapy for you to
Yeah, it
and
was.
self-esteem. That I always think when you create something that people like, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel
Yeah,
that you're worth something, you're valuable. I think it's important for children, all children, but obviously if you have feelings of loneliness and abandonment and you're just not happy, then
yeah,
it's wonderful to be able to have that self-respect for what you're creating from yourself. You know,
yeah.
so where did you get most of your skills from? Did you watch other artists, or did it just come naturally?
I think it was naturally,
Mm.
because back in the days I didn't have phone or internet or anything like that. So I was just, you know, like I said, I was copying some image here and there just to distract my mind from whatever was going around. And then and then I just kept going, and then till when I came to England, when I had my phone as well. That's when I then started doing some research, and then I saw some artists that inspired me, some Brazilian portrait artists that inspired me at that time, and then that's when I learned a few more new techniques, and I improved my drawings, and I took my drawings to a different level.
Yeah. So can you show us some of your work then? Do you have anything that you can put your hand on, or do we have to look at the wall?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's all around me, so let me see.
So I know the you get the texture of skin really, and the vibrancy of the eyes, the feeling. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. Yes. So is that behind glass?
No, this is just one of the limited editions I have.
So that's a print.
Yeah, that's a print.
Because it's shiny. I wondered if it was behind glass.
Yeah, it's just behind the plastic, but let me show you. The original is not nearby. Let me see. That's something.
It's quite detailed. They're big, aren't they?
Yeah,
for the amount of detail. It must take you a long time.
Something like this took about 150, 180, something like that.
Oh, yeah. And the fingers and the fingernails. But the eyes are what draw you in. It's perfect. The skin quality of the skin isn't coming through too well on the camera, but I know, like, if I can describe it to people, you can see the pores in the skin, can you? Yeah, it might be able, some people might be able to pick it up. And the hair, it's amazing. And he's got lovely eyes. Is that a self-portrait?
No, self-portrait is what I'm gonna show next.
Okay.
Just put this away. Yeah, I'm doing a self-portrait now because I hope to, because I applied for Portrait of the Year the last year, I think.
Oh, yes.
But the portrait I submitted, it had other people in. It was like a self-drawn portrait with my cousins, which I think it didn't get accepted. So I'm trying to do a self-portrait, which is just me, which is this.
Right. So, but how do you approach the picture then? So do you put the basic details of the features in first and then do the background?
Yeah, so I take the outlines.
Yeah.
The basic outlines, and then I start doing the detail work now.
And you're staring straight at the viewer.
Yes.
So you're going to have these magnificent eyes. So do you often do the background first and get that? Do you work for depth and value from the background?
Yeah, so like this image here that I'm working on. I normally take the outlines.
Yeah.
And then I work from the dark parts to the lightest.
Yeah.
So this one here would be the darker part. And then I work from here and then start building up from the darkest.
That's a lot of building up.
Yes.
A lot of layers of work.
I mean, the end product would be something like this.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, amazing. It's so enticing. Very alluring. Just trying to
those ones there.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Which is behind glass, and then also I have this one here. I don't know if it's a little bit light here, so you won't be able to see the details.
Yeah, the one in the middle is oils though, is it? Did you say?
Yeah, the one in the middle is oil.
But in all of them, you have this conversation going on, a dialogue between you and the sitter. When you're looking at them, the person is looking back at you, engaging you. trying to,
Yeah.
there's something going on. I suppose as a viewer, you interpret that the way you want to or need to.
I normally put a story behind it, but part of the story I let from the viewer as well to give the perspective.
Well, we bring our own context and our own experience to anything that we look at, don't we?
Yeah.
How do you go about pricing something like these? I know you are, able to sell your work, because a lot of artists struggle to sell their work. But how would you go about pricing it? Do you base it on hours, or do you base it on size?
To me that was this is hard. I mean, because I used to think about hourly. It really depends, because when I used to start, I mean, I used to tell people I want to sell them for $2,500, and they all said, it's too expensive, you're crazy, you're never gonna sell that. But then I stick to my price. That's when I start doing print, and then print I go about, it really depends. I go depend on the size, and then I think, the original took this amount, the print cost this, and every, frame and every other thing, even my packaging as well, because they go in the packaging, like.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Packaging,
Yes.
Then from that I calculate everything and then put like a marketing, and depending on the marketing as well, you might balance it out,
I think it also depends where it's positioned. If it's
exactly.
shown amongst other paintings or as other work drawings of the 10,000 mark, then it's accepted, because that's the customer.
Exactly right.
The customer will walk in with that sort of money. Yeah, it's interesting. It is a dilemma. So where are you off to now then? Are you doing any more exhibitions this year? We're just hitting summer?
This year, I was planning to take a year off, just to create more work. So I want to see if I do a solo show again. Because I have something that is about to happen, but I'm not sure if it's gonna end up happening or not. But it's just, I got invited to do an exhibition with other artists. There's Oxford University.
Oh yes, lovely. Yes.
But it's on the process, so I'm still, waiting for the update.
Well, that would be a lovely opportunity.
Yeah, I got invited to do an exhibition in Blue Water and Rochester again, but just taking a time off just to create more work. And then
unfortunately, the artists have to do that because you can't just chase exhibitions all the time. Otherwise, you're not creating the work. So there has to be a time where you'd focus on creating. And it's another dilemma that artists have. You've hit on two: pricing and actually producing the work, because a lot of people will spend a lot of time producing the work and then not do the marketing and the selling and the exhibition.
And so therefore I'm gonna just take a time off and create more, more work striking, because I do have some other works, but I mean, they are good, but I don't think they are on the level I want to show, I want to display anymore. So I'm just gonna create, work. I think.
Well, I know you've had a new baby, and that will inspire you. Just all the different developments that a child goes through must be fascinating. So I hope you're going to do some lovely work based on your little one.
I do have a picture. I'm gonna be working for him. Yeah, so it's just this one here.
Oh, that's gorgeous. It's scrummy. So clever, so lucky child. Yes. Okay. So the other thing I just wanted to finish off with is how do people contact you?
People can contact me via email, which is info.fredking@gmail.com, or through my website, which is fredking.co.uk.
Okay, and I'll put all that information in the description and the comments. So, well, it's been very enjoyable talking to you, Frederico, and I can't wait to hear more actually and see how you proceed. I know it's hard when you've got a new family and
Yeah.
you want to be creative and you've got all this skill and talent to go ahead with, so it's very exciting. So I'd just like to say thank you, everybody, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you very much then, Frederico.
Thank you very much, Victoria.